right. Welcome back to Power with Pride at 2021. I will be leaving as your host in a minute, but before I do, I have a very important announcement. The art machine has digitized our Mario Paint, and we are all ready to tweet our art. So if you did art during the segment, make sure to put it on your Twitter and at Power with Pride, at Bob Ross, hashtag Happy Little Trees. So let's all go ahead and get our tweets out there. And then I will be relinquishing host to the wonderful, amazing Xandra Vandra.
That's me. All right, everybody. As previously said, I am Xandra Vandra, and I will be your host for the Mega Man blog, and I'm extremely, extremely excited. I'm also excited to see that art over on Twitter. So thank you so much for being part of this. Thank you for continuing to support the Trevor Project, and we are rapidly closing in on our previous, I believe, Power Up with Pride 2018 record. And in the meantime, though, we have the result of our Mega Man Xtreme 1 versus 2 bid war. And I hope you're ready for a less appreciated but very, very interesting Game Boy Color game. So without further ado, let's send it over to Focus because it's not over yet.
Sure ain't over yet. It's never over, Xandra. It's never over. Hello, everyone. My name is Focus Cider, just Focus. You may have seen me run yesterday with Sonic 06. And unlike last time, I'm playing a game that's also good casually. Play this game. Do play this game. I absolutely adore the Xtreme titles. So this is actually my first time getting the bid war in because I actually one of the, if not the only runner who both runs 1 and 2. More people do run 2, and I think that 2 overall is a better speed game, but I think both games are good in their own right, and they have differences enough to warrant showing. So maybe in the future we'll get Xtreme 1 into this marathon, but for now, we have Mega Man Xtreme 2. I'm actually running this on a real console right now, like on actual GameCube and everything, and using a Game Boy player with Game Boy interface on it. So it should look really nice and crisp. And I'm using a Game Boy Advance SP to play because I like the positioning of the select and start buttons there relative to everything we have. Before I begin, though, I want to mention really quickly that I have certain settings here in the button config screen. So I have select set to scramble change, which will swap between X and 0. In the mode that we're playing, we can swap from them from the very beginning, which is going to allow us to do some interesting combat as 0 and interesting mechanics. So we essentially use the advantages of each character because we can swap with them actively in the game. I have auto charge set to off, but Renxia or auto fire set to on. So that means we're not going to be able to use any charged weapons as X, but we will be able to just rapid fire as X, and we'll explain why that is the case when we get into the run. Extreme mode is the top option here, so if we're ready on time, I'm more than happy to get a countdown.
I believe so. I believe you can just count yourself in.
All right, sounds great. So we'll begin in... Oh, I should actually start recording on my end, just in case, you know. So let's begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And what do we begin with? Text. This is why the Japanese release of the game is faster. There's a lot of text and unfortunately unskippable cutscenes in Xtreme 2. It's about 2 to 3 minutes worth. It's not that bad, but it is important. That's why we play on this specific release of the game. So the story of this game, it takes place in between Mega Man X3 and Mega Man X4. So we have found an island which has all these souls, the souls of these Reploids, human-robot hybrids, that exist in the future in 21XX, and they're just going everywhere, and we're just like, whoa, what are the power signals here? We don't understand it. Eventually we find that on this island, once investigating the incident, that two people, Gareth and Bertano, are trying to obtain these souls as a means of essentially power production energy, and it's our job to destroy them. And how do we do that? We fight 8 Mavericks from previous games. It's at least a better plot than Xtreme 1 has, where it's just like, you're in the computer world and you redo all the things you do. Like, at least this is a little bit more inventive, but only by a hair. So it's our job to investigate that.
Yeah, just investigate the DNA souls of robots.
Because that's a thing that exists and wasn't mentioned in every previous game, so let's just do it. Ooh, I got lucky.
Yeah,
Ooh. Nice. Okay, that's good luck. So this is Skullhead. And Skullhead can sometimes just drop a platform that spins. It allows you to constantly shoot at it. And so you can save some time that way. Really good luck in that. So the reason why we don't have charge shots is because in that section there, the issue would be is that if you use a charge shot on it, it would flash the screen and be invincible. It's faster actually just to use rapid fire because there's no invincibility frames in between. And this is the case for most combat as X, although that's not what we're going to be seeing in this mode. Most of the things we do here are actually as Zero, which Zero plays exactly like he does in the PSX games. A really big achievement for a Game Boy Color title. The thing that does change a lot, though, in Xtreme compared to the other X games is the way you dash, though. So this is really important. I'm going to go on a little bit of a description here of how dashing works in this game. There are 3 major ways. The first is to double tap dash. If you double tap left or right, you'll be able to dash and then dash jump out of that. It's really easy to do. Well, it's not. It's fairly easy to understand, but it's a little bit input heavy, and it means you can't really mash it that well. Not to mention you need to hold the button the full time to get the full dash length. The other way is to do down A dashing. So if I press down and then A, I can like spam dashes, but it means you can't jump dash out of that, which is unfortunate. It does lose some time. I didn't mean to switch. Whoop. So you can do that on really constant platforms, like straight shots, where you either are constantly flat or slightly falling as you go from left to right. But it's not good to do if you need to preserve momentum. The third way and the easiest one to do is a jump dash. Jump dashes are limited to 0 at the beginning, but we can unlock them as X. That is double tapping A. Easiest one to do, but it gives you the least distance. And so it's a movement in this game is essentially knowing which of those 3 dashes is best to use at a certain time. Like if I showed my input, by the way, oh no, I died. Oh wait, no, I'm okay. Don't worry about it. Sorry. I'm going to concentrate here for a little bit. This is elevator skip. It skips the elevator section here, which is faster because the elevator lags the game a little bit. But yeah, essentially movement in this game is knowing which of those sorts of dashes is best to use in a certain spot. There's also another thing in this game. Let's see if I get it. There we go. So you can see I sometimes jump, like now, where I'm jumping and the screen is constantly scrolling. That's known as a momentum jump. Momentum jumps are these... we believe they're frame perfect. They're very tight. It's a way of essentially getting the game to force a dash jump speed into your regular jump out. And it involves just doing either of the 3 types of dash and then pressing A the frame as you land, I believe. And you can chain that because it's the fastest way of moving. It has no break in dash speed. It's not reliable because of the small windows, but if you get them on like shots like that, it's really neat and it does save time. And we have our first boss. We have Wire Sponge here, who we do first to get his weapon. His weapon's actually necessary to complete the game 100%. Wow! We got a perfect Wire Sponge pattern. This boss is very random at points. That is nearly a gold. Wow. Very good. Why is that so good? This boss has a desperation attack that will happen if you are at 8 points or less of damage. And you want to avoid that by getting him up into the air and making him do that launch move, because he's completely vulnerable there, and it means you can usually get that. So getting 5 jump slashes, then 3, which totals the 32 hit points needed to defeat it, perfect. Like, that is textbook. And so now we're here in Tunnel Rhino. The reason why we got lightning is because the weapon capsule here is, the armor part is locked behind something needing lightning, which is the power we get from Wire Sponge. Because why wouldn't we get electricity from the plant? The annoying thing, well, not annoying. Whoop, sorry, go on.
You just like rub the sponge very quickly against like some sort of like surface, and you build up static electricity, right?
Yes, that's what Zero's hair is for. We finally found it, everyone. We got it. We found the point for Zero's beautiful golden locks. That's it. I'm sure of it. We'll ask Capcom next time. But you might be wondering what's different about 100%. Why exactly we're doing 100%? What does that incur? What does that mean? What we have to do? So we have to get all 8 armor upgrades, which are these things where Dr. Light appears and says, "Hey, I'm gonna help Zero, I guess? I don't know why I'm helping Zero, but I guess we're gonna help Zero." So using lightning here. There we go. Jump slash to make it instantly break the blocks. So we need to get all 8 armor capsules, all 8 heart tanks, which are health upgrades throughout the stage. We got the one up there when we hovered over to it with the ride armor. And then both the sub-tanks, which are basically storage tanks for excess health if you get more drops as you're at full health. So they're like reserves, energy reserves. This is the most useful armor part in the entire game. This is Zero's arms parts, and the Zero arm parts are what allow us to do something called Zero Final. And Zero Final is essentially Zero's bread and butter combat for bosses. Zero Final was in the first game as well, and it's a move that you have to menu to that does 10 points of damage on bosses, or is a screen clearing move. Otherwise, switch to X here. I'm going to switch to X so I have more health for Zero throughout this, because we're going to fight the boss with Zero. And so Zero Final is super useful because it takes what normally would take 2.5 jump slashes worth of damage into one menu move, a move that you just menu towards. However, normally Zero Final takes up more than half the bar, meaning you can only use it once. However, there's this upgrade here, this part that I got from the part shop. If you've ever played X5 or X6, it's like the part shop there, which is called Energy Saver. And Energy Saver makes every single bit of weapon energy, every single move, take only half as much. Which in our case... Oh, gonna be careful here. Come on, get him. Yeah, okay, I was a bit worried there. Whew. So, Energy Saver reduces weapon energy for every single weapon-based thing, which includes Zero Final, by half. Meaning we can use 2 Zero Finals, that's 20 points of damage. And so that means we need to do only 3 jump slashes and 2 Zero Finals to defeat any boss in this game. It's the exact thing we use for all of that. And so it's a very prevalent combat mechanic you're going to see throughout the run. This is Berkana on her chair and Gareth standing. They're talking about how evil they are, and we're gonna beat them because we didn't want to face them directly from the beginning of the game. Quite literally, Gareth at the beginning of the game just says, "In order to beat me, even though I'm standing right here, I want you to beat these 8 people you fought before, and then come back to me. Then you have enough." And I never got that. It just felt like you're right here. And Zero's like, no, X. No, it might be easier to beat 8 people than try to convince 1. Which is like, okay. That's really harsh.
Yeah,
anyone who's worked at retail knows exactly how that feels.
It's like, it is known that, like, everyone in the X, all the characters in the X series are notoriously bad at de-escalating.
Except, if you ever played X7, which was on last event, we have X who as he shoots, a charge shot screams, "Stop it!" And I love that. It's the same in Japanese as well. Yamero! And it's just like, you're saying that as you shoot the biggest shot you could possibly do at someone. It's like, "Stop fighting!" And as he joins in the fight, but I'll digress. This is the most important part is X. This is his foot parts, and the foot parts in this game are super useful as X because they give him the air dash that we normally would have as Zero from the very beginning, and all that stuff. But there's an additional dash, which is known as the up dash. I can hear the up dog jokes coming. I know, I'm used to them. The up dash is super useful to skip certain segments. So let's see if we can do this here. I'm gonna do a bit of damage boosting. Let's see, get here. Yeah, so I can use the up dash like that to skip having to get stuck into the second wave cycle. We'll see it again later. That hurt. That pun hurt. That pun really hurt. Ooh. But yeah, so the up dash is useful, and I honestly don't understand. Some of this game is great. I do enjoy this game because you're seeing it right now. this is hard to believe that this is an official Game Boy Color title. It goes by so fast, and it's really fun, really fast-paced. They're both on the eShop for $5. I really recommend playing them. The 3DS eShop, that is. And it was one of those games where I immediately just went, oh, this game's fun. I guess I should try to learn to speedrun it, huh? And it worked out really well. I've been running this game for 4 years, and I got world record in this very category just about 2 months ago, which is a big goal of mine, to get a world record outside of just Sonic 06. So I'm really happy with that. But yeah, this game has some interesting design, though. I'm pretty certain that there are certain parts that are, like, impossible to do without the up dash, even though that's technically an optional, like, upgrade. Like, it's not required, technically. Like, you could easily miss that. I'm almost certain there are certain points where the design was just like, they're gonna have that, because how else can they move around this X so fast? You'll see, I'll bring it up when we get to that point in the later game. I have not gotten something called fast text yet. There's this really funky thing that occurs in this game called fast text. You know the weapon get screen. Classic Mega Man fare, we have it every time. There is no way to speed up the text on that normally, except sometimes the game will just speed up for you. We have been looking into it, and we don't know why it happens, but it does save about 1 to 2 seconds if it does occur, which is a lot in a game that's less than 40 minutes. Most I've gotten in one time has been 6 of 8, which is very... I mean, no one has gotten that before or since, I think. And that was during a marathon as well, which is kind of funny. So far, I'm 0 for 3, but it's a really small thing, doesn't really matter too much, but it's still something worthwhile to mention. The text doesn't have a speed up function in Xtreme 1 at all. We're pretty sure it's due to at least I am pretty sure. There's a bunch of different theories as to why that occurs. My thought is it's maybe a stored input from getting a hit on the boss just before you die. But there have been people who have not held anything and saved time. Oh, by the way, so this is another use of the up dash. There's normally a platforming section to our left, but we can switch to X here, and also means we can just damage boost through here. We can switch to X and skip all that platforming, get up here, get one of Zero's armor capsules. This is his body part. The body part reduces damage by half. I get it this early because it's a good thing to have for, you know, safety's sake.
Wait,
and
did Dr. Light leave capsules specifically for Zero?
Yes, to say that he wanted to help X, which is confusing if you know the plot of the series. I don't know if I want to spoil that. I don't think I will. I don't think I will yet. I might mention it at the very end. It's confusing if you know the plot of the X series, but yes, he left. This is, by the way, between X3 and X4. So... not bad RNG there, so this is an RNG point. Because it selects 2 turrets to shoot from, and it needs to, the best pattern is getting the 2 on the left and then the 2 on the right immediately. I got a decent pattern pre-cycle, but that is a real big...
There were turrets in that room?
Yeah, the things on the side I had to destroy in order to actually leave the room.
Oh, because of flickering, I'm not sure if they showed up. We just saw 1B.
Interesting. I think I actually did it so fast that you didn't notice.
Nice, okay, good work.
I was too early there. Oh no, I wasn't! Whoa, I thought I was way too early. So Zero Final you can't use if the enemy's invincible. I think I paused the exact frame that they lost invincibility. Wow. That was really good. Still no fast text. I always just mash A and B just in case. Because, you know, it feels good to feel like you maybe do something. Maybe it'll work. And now we get into Overdrive Ostrich. So Overdrive Ostrich here has 2 auto-scroller sections using the Ride Chaser. You've seen this likely before, because all these stages are based off of Mavericks from the first 3 X games, the SNES trilogy. The thing is, though, like the previous stage we just did, completely unique. It's not based off of... it is Blast Hornet, but it's not based off Blast Hornet's stage on the SNES game. It's better than the stage on the SNES game, in fact. It's really unique style and design. This is based pretty firmly off of Overdrive Ostrich from X2, like everything, almost down to the layout. I need some damage boosting here, hopefully. We'll see how I go. Whoa, I did not expect that to work. I thought I was too slow there. So these are instant kill, the tornadoes. If I use damage boosting at just the right times, I can save time. And there we go, perfect. Ooh, yeah, that's a hard one, because again, if you mess up your timing there at any point and don't hit yourself on the right things, you will die and have to restart. Fortunately, not from the beginning. This game has a checkpoint system. every time you've seen the screen flash, that has been a save point. I'll show it down here once we escape. We now have Zero's full armor, hooray! We can use this to skip some stuff later on, as I'll mention. But here, when I just did that flash there that was on that pillar, that's an automatic save point. So if I reset my game by, doing the inputs on GBC, A, B, start, select, I can actually reload from that point, which makes this game super marathon safe. But yeah, there isn't really much to this boss either. This is a pretty simple auto-scroller section, so if you have anything you'd like to mention, feel free to go ahead, Sandra.
Absolutely. It's infuriating to see you do this so like easily, because this level was so difficult when I played this game casually.
Fun fact, it might be because you got stuck on the ride chaser sometimes, didn't you? You weren't able to jump.
Of course! All the time!
Press up to attack. It allows you to jump out of it for some reason. B forces you to not be able to jump out of it.
Thank you for the knowledge.
You're welcome. I felt the same way, so don't worry. You're not the only one in that boat there. So, like, I was pressing up that entire time for reference, not B, which is the normal attack button, in order to not get stuck on the ride chaser.
Congratulations on beating the ostrich. We do have a donation. We have a $100 donation from Chiron. Thank you so much. Saying,
wow.
Welcome to Good Morning Mega Man Pride Mission. It's morning somewhere. Absolutely.
It's morning somewhere. I feel like it's morning at 2:30 p.m. here. Yes. By the way, those of you who played Mega Man X1 might be really confused by this. Yeah, this isn't Flame Mammoth's theme. This is in fact Launch Octopus's theme. In the Japanese release of the game, those two tracks for some reason are switched. And I didn't notice this for 3 years. I was just like, oh, this is Flame Mammoth's theme, right? Nope, it's Launch Octopus's. They just fit. The water level, for some reason, fits the fire level, and the fire level music fits the water level. I had no second thoughts about it. It was fixed on the international release, though, but it's just a weird audio cue, a weird audio bug that they have. Don't know why, it's just there. So normally here as X, if you're doing X's mission, you'd actually have to return to the stage later in order to get that capsule. You need to break blocks with your head in order to unlock that. The thing is, because as Zero we've unlocked the head part, which does exactly that, I don't need to return to the stage later. I can just break those blocks as Zero, and then go into there as X, which prevents me having to do any revisits this run. Because normally, and so somewhat infuriatingly, you need Flame Mammoth's weapon as X to unlock the capsule in Neon Tiger, which then allows you to get the capsule in Flame Mammoth. Classic Mega Man, let's force you to do a revisit thing. But we don't have to do that in Xtreme mode because of our friend Zero here being fully upgraded in this route. This is also a good point for momentum jumps. So let's see if I can get any momentum jumps. I got 2. Come on. 3rd. There we go. 3 is fine. Because the lag in that area is stronger, so it's easier to do momentum jumps. And I need to be very careful here. So with this boss, I want to make sure that I am only attacking it to 1 damage as 0. So I want to do 2 jump slashes, 1 regular slash, and then switch to X, defeat it as X. As I mentioned before, we need X's weapon in Neon Tiger to unlock the capsule. Zero's variant of the same weapon will not break the wood wall. So in order to do 100%, that is a necessity. If you do miss it though, you can always, again, just reset the console and reload your autosave, which is not the worst. It's not the best because it still is a big time loss. And my estimate's actually fairly tight. I mean, world record is currently 36 minutes and 2 seconds, but doing anything like that can take up to a minute off the run, so fortunately we still have a very solid run here. Anyways, I hope you all like Guns N' Roses. I think everyone's a big fan of Guns N' Roses here, probably? Yeah, probably. This song reminds me a lot of a certain song in Guns N' Roses, and they're like, no, there's no way we could do that. And then shortly after, they name all the X5 ones after Guns N' Roses members, but whatever. Still find that funny. I love Duff McWhalen. Shout out to Duff McWhalen. So the heart piece is there, and we get to do a lot of stuff here as X, not as Zero. So this is going to look a little bit stressful, but we're going to also try to get some drops from these bees, because we do need certain drops from luck enough to unlock a certain part in the part shop. We don't need to get all the parts, by the way. That's not a requirement of 100%, because those are purchasable items, and we don't include them within the necessary things of 100%, but we do use them often, because they are super useful. So I get the thing here as X. This gives us the heart head piece, which allows us to break blocks. Not used again, really. And we're just going to go out of here. Swapping characters near the top of the screen is actually faster because the animation is reduced. So where possible, make sure to try and swap between 0 and X near the top of the screen, as I did just there.
That makes perfect sense. They teleport towards the sky, so if they're closer to the sky, they don't have to teleport as much.
Yep. Just going here. By the way, interesting things about all the ride armors in this game. So the ride armor there, the ride chaser, you can't pause during them. I don't know why they made that decision, and this is the same in Xtreme 1. You just can't pause during them. You have to constantly game, and if you're not gaming, then tough luck. This is Neon Tiger. Same deal again. We don't need Neon Tiger's weapon in this case, but it's super useful to have it for the next boss it will fight. Not for the reasons you'd expect, but... There we go. So we're gonna make Calamari. That's what we're gonna do in the next one. We're gonna fight Launch Octopus, who is the last of our main 8 Mavericks. So we've effectively almost made it. This is also a very tight run right now. Pretty good run. Okay, 1 for 7 fast techs so far. A really funky thing about this game as well, did you know you can buffer inputs and menus and such? If you hold a direction when the screen, like right as the screen transitions into a menu, it'll input that direction first frame. And that means you can menu with that. It is scary though, because if you select the wrong stage and it's not a stage you've done before, you have to game over in order to get back. So be careful with that. Do be careful. It is a less than 1 second time save to waste potentially 90 seconds, but that's what I do here.
Normal speedrunning.
I'm taking the risks for you. Welcome to Flame Mammoth's theme if you're only listening to the podcast version of Power Up with Pride. No. This is the final stage, so we're gonna get the heart capsule up here, the heart tank. Interestingly, I mentioned momentum jumps before. Momentum jumps are most vital underwater, because momentum jumps underwater give you the normal air momentum, not the usual water momentum. I can just slide off the side here, by the way. Before the ship... Yeah, and it's supposed to fall onto the ground there. As soon as you destroy it, the ground instantly explodes. It doesn't fall into the ground, it explodes the ground, because you can just fall off immediately and fall into here. Okay, just gonna see what drops I get. Nice. We go here, and this is our final capsule, the final armor capsule, so we've gotten everything we need, pretty much at this point. Actually, we should have, yeah. Got all the sub-tanks. The sub-tank was in Flame Mammoth, and also in Wire Sponge, so this should be 100% run, as far as I'm aware. Not to mention, the heart tank you get, it only gives you the health upgrade for the character you collected as. So I have 3 here for X and 5 for 0, because we don't use X as much, and we want 0 to be the more tanky, because we use him more so for combat. Let me go through here. And one more, we fight the same one again. I forget the name of this one. I just say the water snake. It's not a snake, but it's probably an eel or something. Oh no, bad pattern. Okay, so the bad pattern is getting over here. And unfortunately having to wait for it to come down. Oh wow, yeah, that's bad.
These are so satisfying to destroy quickly.
The unfortunate thing is you want it to come from the... Oh, come on. Oh, that was really bad. I'm sorry about that. It's a little bit luck... I mean, it is luck-based, unfortunately. So there's, like, certain patterns, and I got a really bad one. Like, this would be a reset if I were going for, like, world record attempts at this point, unfortunately, because it's that big of a time loss in this game, like 15 seconds. But we now have Rayclaw here. And Rayclaw allows us to change... It's not the weakness for Launch Octopus, but it allows us to do this. It allows us to cut his arms off. And that makes him completely invulnerable. They're completely vulnerable, sorry. Wrong in there. So instead of doing that tornado move, which can suck you in and they're invincible, we can just cut its arms off and do that. Because why not? And that is the main 8 Mavericks, done. So now we get to fight Berkana and Gareth, you know, the enemies that are totally not related to a certain enemy we've seen the entire time in the Mega Man X series. No, they're unique. They're totally it's just Gareth and Berkana. So there's no way it could be anyone else. Never. That face looks familiar. That face looks a little familiar. I'm sure it means nothing. So this is the first of the Gareth and Berkana Fortress stages. And they actually are mostly unique stages. This is based a little bit off of one of the stages from X2, the very beginning, but from here on, these are actually pretty unique layouts. And they're pretty fun to go through. You just sort of speed through them as 0 most of the time. The second one you speed through is X, and there's some really neat strats there. Momentum jumps where you can, but of course not required. But if you get momentum jumps, it's cool. It's like a pro gamer trick. Gonna try to... By the way, one thing I haven't mentioned yet. Oh, man. Is the wall dash, the wall jumping in this game is really interesting. In order to do it, you need to sort of stick yourself to the wall and assume that you're going to, like, hug back onto it. It's a certain timing, it's not mashing. It's sort of like a rhythmic, so you keep sticking on the wall before you jump out, and therefore you can scale it very quickly. I also failed to mention something we do. This is, we have a move called Drill Crush. If you press down and B while in the air, that allows us to do like a dagger down. And we use it on the boy here, the dog, I forget the actual name, Belgarder, in order to do damage to it, because the jump slash is hard to hit on a sprite that low. And it's really useful if you have stationary enemies as well. I used Drill Crush a few times earlier in the stage and a few other stages, but failed to mention it. Sorry. Okie dokie, and now I get the most infamous stage in the entire game. This one's hard. This is the second Berkana and Gareth Fortress stage, and it has probably the most infamous mini-boss, or not mini-boss, the most infamous boss in this game. Izez and Zawilo, colloquially known as the Sphinx Tank. But before we get to that, I'm going to do a little bit of a skip here. So we can use our invincibility frames as X here to take damage on 2 specific bats and skip having to wait on that platform. Saves like 6-7 seconds. Pretty cool. It used to be very difficult for me to do, but I realized it's much easier as X because a funny thing about the air dash as X, it's a little bit longer than Zero's. So air dashing as X is a little bit safer to do in that regard than it is as Zero. So we're going to go through this as X, and this is the point where I was mentioning, how do they expect you to complete this without the up dash? This part here. You can do this without the up dash, this bit. But like, that last one, very difficult to get without the up dash. And more specifically, later, when we go to the third Fortress stage, there's like one where I'm like certain, like, how do they do this without expecting you to do the up dash? There's like no way they ever did. Ooh, come on. Not getting good cycles here.
This is wild to see on the Game Boy Color. They like the giant like lava.
Yeah, fire. They just decide to happen to have with a bunch of metal around because that makes sense. You know, not a workplace hazard at all. OSHA shouldn't get involved. Okay, so I'm gonna switch to Zero here. That was really good up until the X section there, but still good. So I'm gonna do this as Zero. We have 2 faces here on the Sphinx Tank, an upper one and a bottom one. Both take 16 hits. You need to defeat both of them to succeed. First thing you're gonna do is just dash over. Oh, don't know if I hit both. I did. Okay, get hit again so I can damage boost. Oh, gonna be safe here. I don't want to die here. Jump. Zero final again. When I get hit here, get hit again, and use Joe Crush like that. It's tight. It's really hard to do this one fast because if you aren't positioned right when you use Zero Final, it won't hit both faces and you will actually lose time. Alright. Let's see, we're gonna go to the shop now. I do have enough. I need to get 2,000 as a whole in order to get everything I need to unlock here, because we're now gonna go parts shopping. We're gonna get 4 different ones, and I'll explain them as we get into this next stage. All these are essential, basically, in order to do the last half of this game, the last quarter, I suppose, of this game really fast. So now we have Gareth talking to us, Gareth and Berkana. We have to fight them. Oh no! So what we're gonna do first is we're going to equip Zero with Zero Saber +2. So each of the characters has a +1 and +2 attachment to their main weapon. And the thing that allows them to do is it increases every single bit of attack by that factor. So if you have +1 equipped, it adds 1 more hit point to every single thing you do. So Zero's jump slash is normally 3, for instance. With +1 equipped, it's 4 hit points, and with +2 and 1 equipped, it stacks and gives you 6 points, doubles it. So Zero's jump slash will be faster than using Zero Final, because you can do 2 jump slashes for 12 points of damage, instead of waiting, doing an animation, going to the menu, and getting 10 points. So we're actually not going to see Zero Final here unless there's a backup to certain things. Second point to mention is, if you're playing the game from the start here, you normally have an X mission and a Zero mission. This is where it branches out. So one of them fights Berkana and one of them fights Gareth. We need to fight Berkana as X. It is a requirement, actually, in order to do 100%, because, spoilers, I actually haven't gotten everything yet. We have the Secret Capsule, which has the Shoryuken and Hadouken. So we need to make sure we get those in order to get the 100% for real. And that is only available in X's stage here. The other reason we do that is because Gareth is really not nice. Gareth is not fun. Gareth is really difficult, and Bracana just fights with the alphabet. So we prefer her. And it means we do get a little bit more X action, because we've seen a lot of Zero so far, but we now get to see more of X, which is at least a little bit nice. You do get a better balance of the two.
Fights with the alphabet.
Oh, you'll see soon. You'll see. So I want to jump into this instant kill wall. It's not instant kill, haha. And we're going to talk to Dr. Light here, who has the Shoryuken Hadouken. You remember, if you played the game casually, like any Mega Man, if you played Mega Man X1 or X2, you know that, oh, these are really powerful. These are super good moves. Nope, they do 5 points of damage each in Xtreme 2. Which, guess what? The base Buster does 2 points. We have a +2 and +1 equipped. Our base Buster does Shoryuken damage every time, and it's rapid fire. So we don't really need the Shoryuken Hadouken at all. Both of them are 5 damage. It's kind of sad that they aren't instant kill, but it means you don't have to have charging on it, at least. We can just have that rapid fire on and don't have to worry about holding a charge or anything. Which I think is better. In the end. So this is Bracana here, and she fights with the alphabet. What do I mean? Well... B. Is she gonna give us an A? I'd like an A. Oh, she's giving us all B's. Okay, that's okay. That's still a good Bracana fight. So she will send either A or B at you, and it will disable that specific button, sending you into a different phase, which she can basically just damage you with no repercussions. Sorry if I get silent near the jingle. I use the jingle to split, so I always make sure to hear for the jingle. And oh no, it's Sigma! Oh, what? Oh,
No!
How could it be? I'm sad.
In Mega Man?
In Mega Man, Rockman X. Yeah, so Sigma was all behind this. Who would have thought? And so we now have to fight all the Mavericks we fought before yet again, and then we get to fight Sigma. So there isn't really much to this after the first one. I'll explain what exactly our combat mechanics are here and what we do when we switch parts, and then there's a good 2 to 3 minutes for donations. So let me just get into the first fight here. We're gonna first fight Launch Octopus, because we want to use Ray Claw to disable its attacks in that regard. So we're just gonna use Ray Claw immediately. Gonna swap over back to the regular X Buster and then swap back to Zero. We're just gonna jump slash, no Zero finals, because again, 6 points of damage for every jump slash. That means we only have to do 5 jump slashes and a little bit more in order to defeat every boss here. So this is basically the Zero Gauntlet. And with that in mind, yeah, if you have anything you'd like to mention, Xandra, for the next 2 minutes or so, feel free to go right ahead.
Absolutely. I'm loading up the latest bid incentive statuses as we speak. Speaking of those, we are almost halfway to the Axiom Verge hard mode incentive. We're just over $500 away, so if you want that to happen, please remember to donate. And as always, all your money goes to help the Trevor Project. And we do have some of the options on that very last surprise bid war to determine what music will be played during the Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past 3 versus 1 race. Right now, the East Mix is in a solid lead, but it's still anybody's game. So if there's a music pack you would like, now's your chance to let everybody hear it for the last couple of hours.
Sounds great. Yeah, it'd be really nice to hear that. Oh, okay. Ostrich was not kind. So that pattern's not what you want. You want to avoid Ostrich going behind at all. Oh, twice over. That's okay. I had really good refights for the first 4 in the bottom, but yeah, the ones that I might use Zero Final on are this one and then Wire Sponge, because Wire Sponge's I want to avoid Wire Sponge's Desperation attack wherever possible. You can tell the ones from X2, which are the ones just there. They're the most annoying, because they have long animations that you can't skip in the event that you miss just one small thing. I think we got him, though. I think we got him. Yeah, we got him. That was a good one as well, actually. 2 more refights to go. We have Tunnel Rhino and Blast Hornet. I'm going to go to the right first and defeat Blast Hornet. The best thing you can do is to get jump slashes where there are no invincibility frames in between. That's like a deal. I remember here in my world record, I had like a perfect fight. That was close though. Except for the first hit, that's exactly what you want to see. You want to see constant flashing. And I'm gonna put this as a huge warning right now. The final boss of this game, if you are photosensitive at all, I recommend looking away. It flashes every time we hit it. I don't know why they decide to do that, but it does, and it's a lot. So I will warn people now before we get on to that. That is the reef fights. Okay.
So much damage.
Yeah. Oh, come on, Zero. So we can just skip through here. Now we're gonna, the weirdest thing about Sigma, it's not that Sigma's in the game, because of course he's in the game. It's a Mega Man title, Sigma. It's what his weakness is. So Sigma's weakness is not is specifically the air dash slash, which is a move we've not seen. It's double tapping A and then immediately pressing B. It does 5 points normally of damage, which means with the 2 upgrades we have, it does 8, meaning just 4 hits from this will be enough to defeat Sigma here. We're not done time yet. There's a second phase of Sigma here, where he's a giant face, because Sigma loves doing that. You can notice he's yellow here. We need to use charged X shots. And you might be thinking, oh no, how can we do that? We don't have the charge, we don't have auto charge on. Well, the part that I bought was something called Ultimate Buster, which forces the base shot to be the default, like to be a charge shot. So you can see the charge shots here. That's why I needed 2,000 souls in order to get this and some other parts that I needed. So we need to use charge shots there in order to defeat him. Oh, and then a dash slash. That one's really hard because he's really high. Shoot here in the face. That was almost done. Try it one more time. Time is coming up soon, like very soon. Okay, he's turned to pink. That means it's Zero can only attack him now. There we go. 3708 on my end. That is Mega Man Xtreme 2. Pretty good run.
GG,
Only a minute off world record, yeah. This game has become second nature to me, but I absolutely adore it. It's really fun. And we get the souls relinquished. I don't know where they're going. They're comets in Super Mario Galaxy now, but, you know.
Goodbye, Robot Souls. DNA
Goodbye,
Souls.
Robot Souls. We'll see you as Lumas in the future. That's probably the origin story, you know, in Galaxy. And yeah, that is essentially, we've released the souls in Iris, and Zero and X are fine until in X4 where Iris dies.
No!
And X5 where we realize
But if Iris
Zero's bad.
What is Zero fighting for?
He's fighting for the producer names in the credits, which are great. If you haven't seen the producer names in Japanese in the credits, Ryutaro S. Mama is one of my favorites.
Nice.
So yeah, that is Xtreme 2. If you've never played the Xtreme games, highly recommend. They are fantastic Game Boy Color titles, heavily overlooked. Honestly, I'm glad that through events like this, I'm able to show people more of this game. I've been told it was a ROM hack before. It's not. It's an official title. Promise. It looks so fluid and fast that it honestly does feel like that, though. I don't blame them at all, because it doesn't feel like what the Game Boy Color was, like, capable of, but Capcom just knew what they were doing with the Game Boy Color. They just rocked it. They did the Oracle games as well. Beautiful games. You know, it really shows that it shows this unique nature of the Game Boy Color in particular, where it's like this weird stopgap between the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. Things feel like they're really pushing the limits of the hardware, and for that reason I adore playing Game Boy Color games, and I adore running this game as well. So thank you so much for having me, Power Up with Pride. I've been Focus Site. You can follow me on Focus Site, either on twitch.tv or on Twitter under the same names. Make sure to keep on donating. I'm really hopeful we can beat the highest record here for Power with Pride. It's gonna be really good to see that, especially on the 5-year anniversary. And yeah, I've enjoyed running for this event not only once but twice, and I'm hopeful we can see the first game in the future, because we like going backwards in terms of plot here. I want to show you the game that came after the previous game. It's not like they have any relation either, actually. It's funny, because Xtreme 1 is just X1, but on the Game Boy, and this one is actually a unique story. But yeah, thank you so much. I do appreciate it, and make sure to keep on donating.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that incredible run of, gosh, what a surprising game.
It's ironic. It's so beautiful, isn't it? It looks incredible for Game Boy Color.
Well, if you folks out there like Mega Man, this is just the start of the Mega Man block. Coming up next, we have Mega Man RAM by TPA Salt. So sit tight. We'll be right back.